I've spoken with JK, so we're on the same page. We're both trying for the same thing. There's always frustration for players, when they go out of the starting lineup. That's not unique to anybody. When he does come back, assuming we're still, playing pretty well, I'll bring him off the bench, and he's got to earn his way back into the starting lineup, just like Moses had to do, at the beginning of the season when he was out. And it's always the way it works, no matter who it is.
And this year we're getting to see it. We got some more arms waving Steve Kerr on the sideline again.
Yeah, I was a little riled up. I guess was it late first or early side? I think it was late first.
Late
quarter.
First, yeah.
We just made a couple defensive mistakes, mental errors, and so I was angry, and it happens. I didn't break a clipboard. I was close, but kept the clipboard intact, and the guys were great. I mean, whether they responded to me or not, I mean, the whole point was just, we've got to be better, and the guys were great the last three quarters, and really proud of them. And now we've got to, take advantage of a little bit of momentum and see if we can go get another one.
Yeah, and a little bit of practice time and a chance to actually sleep in your own bed. And so you do now have the advantage of having a more tenable schedule. So did that add maybe a little bit to the early frustration where things are now breaking your way schedule-wise and you're home against a team that you should be able to handle? Was that all part of what culminated into that frustration?
Maybe. I think everybody was a little frustrated coming off the Portland game. That's a tough game. It's always a tough game coming back from a long road trip and, not much recovery time. It almost feels like another road game. And we needed to get that one. We didn't. And so there was frustration in the entire locker room. And, to go into that Utah game at 9-9, I think we all felt like we should be at least, a couple games better, maybe even more. So there was probably a little of that frustration that factored in. But more than anything, it was just a game plan mistakes that were happening, and we had to get that corrected.
We noticed, Steve, when that happened and you kind of pulled everybody over to talk it out, Pods did not go back in for the rest of the half. There was also a 21-0 run that then ensued. What was going into the decision-making process there? What did you see during that successful run?
Well, he was back out there right after the timeout. I didn't take anybody out after the timeout, but at the top of the second quarter, I wanted to spark, and Pat Spencer is always a guy who gives us energy and flow. He throws the ball ahead. There's a really good rhythm that comes with when Pat's on the floor. And so normally that would be a time when BP's out there, but I just felt like we needed something different, a spark, and Pat gave us that. Will Richard gave us that, and we went on a huge run and really got into a good rhythm there the rest of the game.
How big is it for your team that the majority of that happened in what we call the non-Steph minutes?
Yeah, when we got Jimmy, we were really good in the non-Steph minutes, and we have not been as good this season. We haven't found our rhythm with the second unit around Jimmy, and so it's good to see that happen. It's one of the benefits of having Jimmy Butler. You can play through him at any time, whether Steph's on the floor or not. And so I know we're better than what we've shown to this part of the season, but we've got enough talent to be able to play well, whether Steph's on the floor or not. Obviously, we're going to be at our best when he's out there, but we should be more consistent when he's on the bench.
So, Steve, I want to let everybody who's listening hear this again, or maybe they haven't heard it, because there is, there's some thought around this, maybe the mystery of the Jonathan Kuminga injury. You thought maybe he'd play in Miami, and now it's kind of lagged a little bit. So, I don't want to put thoughts in your head. To me, you sound a little frustrated there with that subject. But so I want to let you speak on it. What were you feeling in that conversation?
Well, it was frustrating to say day to day for 2 straight weeks.
Yeah.
and then continue to get asked about it because it's day to day, but not really having, a definitive answer. And so, but the training staff, they're doing their jobs, and it was just tough to know what was going on. And but that's why it was great to see him scrimmaging in the half court and feeling better. I think he's finally getting through there. But yeah, there's frustration sometimes when there's not clarity in terms of what's happening with an injury, and that was just the case. So I was a little frustrated by that.
Yeah, and just to allow you to dispel something that I'm sure is kind of out there because of all the history with Jonathan Kuminga. When people see something like this, there's a lot of people going, "Hey, is this more than just an injury? Is there some frustration on his part with whether it's starting or minutes or whatnot?" What's your response to that thought?
I've spoken with JK. We talked on the trip, after he went out. We spoke in Orlando for a while before the game, and so we're on the same page. We're both trying for the same thing. There's always frustration for players, when they go out of the starting lineup. That's not unique to anybody. So that was part of the conversation, coming off the San Antonio wins, that we're going to continue to stay with what we're doing, but that could change at any moment. And that's always my approach. If we're doing well, we're going to stick with it. And then we have to adapt and adjust from there. And so that's the case in this particular equation with JK. When he does come back, assuming we're still, playing pretty well, I'll bring him off the bench, and he's got to earn his way back into the starting lineup, just like Moses had to do, at the beginning of the season when he was out. And it's always the way it works, no matter who it is.
What dimensions does he bring that you've been missing over the course of the last couple of weeks?
Well, he's rebounded really well this year, and the ability to get by people and create an advantage offensively, off the dribble. We definitely could have used that in a couple of these games, but every player brings something different, and it affects which lineups we put out there, and so it's always about the 5-man unit. And so whoever's available, we just search for the best possible combo.
When the top scorer on the other team is out.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think it applies in this game, though. There are games where, the best guy is out and you worry about a letdown. There's no need for a letdown when you're playing Houston without Kevin, because they're still an incredible team. They're putting up, I think, the greatest offensive rebounding stats in league history. They're rebounding over 40% of their missed shots, which is just an astounding stat. But they're a massive team. They will play Şengün and Steven Adams together, with Amen Thompson. Get the three of those guys out there. It's no wonder they're getting every rebound. But they're a really unique team, and Ime's done an incredible job over the last couple of years building their identity. They're physical, they're tough, and Şengün has become an all-star. He's one of the best players in the league now, so they're a formidable team.
Steve, I'm always fascinated because you hear coaches often preach defense. This is in every single sport. So it caught my ear when I heard you say that you thought the defense was fine and that you were more concerned about the offense, especially when paired with Jimmy Butler's comments that we're not guarding anybody right now. So can you take us through why you kind of feel the way you do with regard to what the concerns are in your eye right now?
Well, I thought the Portland game was a little bit of a one-off defensively. Even with all of our turnovers this year, we are like the 10th ranked defense in the league. And the way I look at it, once we are able to take care of the ball more consistently, like we did a year ago, I think our defense becomes top 5. I just think it's connected. And so that's why I said what I said. I mean, and it wasn't necessarily the case in the Portland game. I think we had 14 turnovers, so we did a good job taking care of it. It was the offensive rebounds that got us in that game. But my point is that over the course of the first 19 games, our defense has been better than our offense. Our offense is hurting our defense with the turnovers, and the numbers show it. We're 9-1 now when we win the turnover battle, and we're 1-8 when we don't. So what should I be more worried about, our offense or our defense?
Yeah, probably the offense. And when you look at the turnover problems, what do you see as the underlying theme that has maybe contributed to the reason why you have turned it over so much?
Well, the things that the coaches are focused on that we can help them with is spacing and cutting. If you have a pattern that you're used to and guys are where they're supposed to, that makes decision-making a lot easier. So from our standpoint, it's getting them better organized. From the player standpoint, it's decision-making. So, we show clips every day, and we tell them that we will do a better job here, but you guys have to do a better job there. And it's always a collaborative effort. I just think that over the years, we've been a pretty wild team, and that wildness, that chaos has been really successful for us because we've made more threes than other teams. We've played faster. We've had Steph and Clay and Kevin Durant, and forcing a fast tempo with the three best shooters on earth is a pretty good plan. So we've always lived with turnovers, but the point we're making to our team every day now is that the league's different. Everybody else is playing just as fast or faster than us. Everybody else has a million three-point shooters. And if we turn it over today, in 2025, we're really vulnerable, whereas 7-8 years ago, we could get away with it.